The views of those who are on this show are not particularly the views of WWE or any other pro wrestling promotion. But if you disagree with us, you're wrong. After a week where the Kansas City Chiefs and the St. Louis Rams lost, and the Kansas City Royals and the St. Louis Cardinals won, going into the ALCS and NLCS, The Rock returned to officially welcome Rusev to the WWE main roster, and Dean Ambrose proves that he is continuously the best thing going on WWE television. This is the second edition of the Shoot Nation Wrestling Podcast. I am Charlie, here with Michael, and here with Jake.
Howdy.
Now, we got a couple of things we're going to talk about tonight. First things first, Dean Ambrose. Last Monday night on Raw, hailing from Brooklyn, New York in the Barclays Center, Dean Ambrose attempted to go to Coney Island in the middle of Raw, and then hilarity pursued. And I'm going to give it to you, Michael. Why don't you explain to everybody what happened?
Okay, so you're watching the show, and of course, Cena and Ambrose are bent on getting their hands on Rollins, and so the show opens with Rollins is in the ring, and then Cena comes up and tries to attack him, and Rollins, as he always does, escapes through the crowd, and it always seems like he goes to the same spot. Like we should know by now where he's gonna go, what path he's gonna take. But he runs, he gets out into the crowd. Ambrose comes out, attacks him. Big fight happens, and so it gets announced that there's going to be a handicap tag team match consisting of Ambrose and John Cena versus Randy Orton, Kane, and Seth Rollins. Later on in the show, Ambrose confronts John Cena, tells him to come out to the ring, and they have a bit of a war of words, resulting in Ambrose getting angry and saying, "Yo, I'm out." He leaves. He's in Coney Island. Match is happening on the main event of Raw. It's now a 3-on-1 handicap with just John Cena taking on the Authority. Out comes Dean Ambrose, middle of the match, with a Coney Island hot dog stand. Comes down the ramp with this thing. And
With the works.
I mean, this thing is loaded to the gills with hot dogs, pickles, relish, mustard, ketchup, everything that you would find on a New York City hot dog stand.
Sauerkraut as well. Sauerkraut was one of the condiments.
And as he goes out on stage, he even pops the little umbrella up.
Yeah, that he does. In which JBL was like, it's superstitious. It's bad luck. There we go. to open an umbrella indoors.
So here comes this guy down the ramp, and Kane and Orton, first of all, props to them for selling this the way they did with their body language, because they look at each other and you can tell they've got these looks of what in the world is going on. So obviously they get down.
It's the best sell job Randy Orton has ever had.
They get out of the ring. They go up there, see what's going on. They both look bewildered, and all of a sudden here's Ambrose standing on the ramp eating a hot dog. Sees these guys, throws the hot dog down, pulls his jacket back to reveal 2 holsters. And they both are looking at each other like, what the heck is this guy gonna do? He pulls out ketchup and mustard and starts squirting both of them, starts beating the crap out of them, throwing the hot dog stand at them, goes in there, beats up Rollins. Big fight comes out of that. And the thing I love about this whole segment, no one else could have pulled this off.
No.
Had it been, I encourage you, if you listen to this podcast and you have not seen this segment, please YouTube this, find it on the internet, look up this segment and watch it, and I dare you to not laugh, because it was one of the funniest things I've seen on Raw, and you could not have pulled this off with any other superstar on that roster. It would have come off as cheesy, boring, and pointless, but with it being Ambrose and just his body language and the way that he portrays things, like, man, that came off as one of the funniest segments that I can think of in recent memory.
Ambrose really sells it in what he's doing. It's amazing.
The only other person that came to mind that could have pulled this off, just because they were equally insane, would have been Mankind.
I could see Mick Foley pulling something like a Coney Island hot dog cart off.
But it would have been Kansas Chef Boyardee.
I wouldn't doubt that. The reason, to backtrack, the reason why Ambrose decided to walk out on Cena before the main event, to go back to SmackDown the week before, was scheduled to once again be Cena and Ambrose versus Kane and Orton. Apparently there was an angle, because I didn't watch SmackDown. Apparently there was an angle where...
Who has watched SmackDown?
True, and we'll get to that later. Where Ambrose was going to tag in Cena. Turns out right before the tag was going to be made, Rollins showed up on the stage, and basically Cena walked out, quote unquote, walked out on Dean Ambrose to leave Ambrose to be destroyed by Kane and Orton. So in retaliation, Dean Ambrose was like, you know what, Cena? You walked out on me, I'm going to walk out on you. And then decided to get on, what was it, the R train? Q train. And to apparently go to Coney Island. And he comes back with a hot dog cart and sprays Orton and Kane with ketchup and mustard. And also pours sauerkraut and relish on Orton as well.
Another funny moment from that night, though, was at the beginning, whenever Rollins is out in the ring talking trash because he's pissed. And Cena, first of all, it's one of the first times I've ever seen of someone coming out to the ring that they didn't play their entrance music.
Yep.
So John Cena just comes out
Out
to
of
the ring.
nowhere.
Which made it that much better, because I've always
Right.
said, you don't need your theme song to play every time you're going to come out.
It kind of like destroys the surprise factor.
Right, yeah. Like, especially because if you know what's going to happen, like, oh, Seth Rollins is out here, that means either Rollins or Cena is going to interrupt Rollins.
Exactly.
Well, if you don't play their music, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You don't play their music, and then like Rollins or Ambrose shows up out of nowhere, that much more of a surprise. The same goes for Cena.
Which segues this. So Cena comes down, beats the crap out of Rollins for a little bit. Rollins escapes like we see every other week.
Mm-hmm.
But as Rollins is in the crowd talking trash to Cena in the ring, here comes Ambrose just stepping in next to Rollins. And Rollins just kind of like bumps. It's like, hey, I'm yelling at this guy. And then he realizes it's Ambrose. I lost my mind. I thought it was freaking hilarious.
Yeah, if you haven't watched the segments, go back and watch the segments.
The beginning and the end of the show is where this all started. Actually, the beginning, the middle, and the end of the show all featured some combination of Cena, Ambrose, and the Authority, which should probably tell you that's not very good for your 3-hour program if you're featuring the same 6 people 3 times in the show. I enjoyed this segment so much. It continues my praise that Dean Ambrose is the best thing on WWE TV right now.
Hands down.
I don't know anybody who is. What he pulled off with the hot dog cart, and we've talked about this. It was a page straight out of Stone Cold Steve Austin's playbook.
Just a different form of it.
Yeah. Like, I could very easily see Stone Cold doing this exact same thing back in his heyday, back where he was the top star, back in the Attitude Era.
Except
he would have driven like the Oscar Mayer Wiener truck
I was just going to say.
into the arena. Come out and started like pelting people with hot dogs.
throwing big bags of hot dog buns, just launching them at people.
Vince would have been trying to swim in the ring.
But I was thinking like he would have somehow gotten a hot dog cart that just had a seat and a steering wheel and is motorized.
Yeah.
It's like a Zamboni hot dog cart.
Exactly. I saw it very much as a page out of Austin's book. I think if anybody else could have pulled that off, it would have been a Stone Cold. Which, if I'm comparing Dean Ambrose to Steve Austin, I'm not upset because why not? You're making Triple H basically the new Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
You're making Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury the new
Stooges.
Patterson and Briscoe.
Right.
You're making Rollins kind of like the new Rock, kinda with Kane and Orton, being the old flackies of the former corporation.
Your big boss man.
Yeah, like the boss man in Shamrock.
Exactly.
Pretty much. And then that makes Ambrose Austin and Cena. I don't know. I don't know who would be the comparison for Cena back in like the corporation days.
There really wasn't.
In a weird way,
Because
Triple H.
I was gonna say Triple H, but Triple H was a member of the corporation too, so it was.
As far as like someone else who's on that level of the top guys in the
right,
company,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, which
because
is
Triple H has never really been a face character.
Yeah,
I mean, people still hate him, just like people hate Cena, but
yeah,
quote unquote, Cena's still.
The majority of Triple H's run over the last 20 years has been primarily a heel.
Yeah. Actually, guys, I'm going to take this opportunity to throw a curveball real quick. I know we weren't necessarily planning to discuss this on the show, but I feel like it's something that needs to be addressed. How do you guys feel about the potential rumors of a Cena heel turn?
This has been thrown around way too many times over the last number of years. I've told you once that I don't ever think there is a way for a wrestler to be so over as a face that he can't be turned heel, because it happened with Hulk Hogan back in 1996.
That's true.
And if I feel like if they took the gamble, if Eric Bischoff and all of WCW took the gamble, and Hulk Hogan as well, for Hogan to turn heel and create the NWO, which created one of the most memorable moments in the entire history of the sport, why can't WWE possibly even think about doing the same thing with Cena? Because Cena is basically the new generation's Hulk Hogan.
Very true.
He's got the slogans, and he's got the bravado and
role model appeal.
The role model appeal as a Hulk Hogan back in the 80s. You know, with Hogan, it was take your vitamins, say your prayers. Let me tell you something, brother.
Hustle, loyalty, respect.
Cena is hustle, loyalty, respect, and never give up. You know, Hogan did a lot of things with like for the kids. I think he was one of the first to like really do something for Make-A-Wish. Cena is the most wish-giving athlete in any sport, with over 400, I think. Yeah. I think he's got over 400.
He's got the record, overall.
Yeah.
The last I saw was like 480 something.
Yeah. And just in the business itself, like, he's becoming that benchmark of if we're gonna make it in this business, we have to go through this guy. Like, I want to be in a program with this guy.
Right.
Like, just as Hogan was back in the day, like, people wanted to work with Hogan for the notoriety of working with Hogan.
Yep. Just so you could.
Cena's becoming that in the business. Like, if I'm gonna get noticed, if I'm gonna get known, I want to wrestle this guy.
And it's only worked for a couple of people that have gone through, quote, the roadblock known as John Cena, and that's been able to surpass it. CM Punk being one, Daniel Bryan being another. Mm-hmm. Daniel Bryan beat Cena in the main event of SummerSlam a year ago. Yes, there was that whole thing afterwards where he kind of got de-pushed, but whether they liked it or not, it came back at the end with Daniel Bryan being only the second man in WrestleMania history to open and close the show.
Yeah.
CM Punk being another, where that Money in the Bank 2011 match, one of the best matches of, at least of the decade. And I say that we were only 2 years into the decade, but I would say by the time we reach 2020, we look back on the best matches of the 10 decade. That's gonna be right up there. It's a great match. I rewatch it so many times. I love that match. There's so many things that's great about that match. Punk got past the roadblock of John Cena. He went on to have the longest reign in the last 25 years. But not everybody's like that.
Yeah.
Not everybody ends up being that way. I feel like Rollins and Ambrose could be those two more guys to go past the roadblock and have a very successful career.
Definitely.
When it comes to the heel turn, I say why not? Mm-hmm. If it fails, it fails. Turn it right back and act like you never did it. Because WWE likes doing that anyway, doing things, going against it, and pretending like it never happened.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back to 2005, when Shawn turned heel on Hogan to get into the SummerSlam program, Shawn Michaels was heel for about a month and a half. As soon as SummerSlam 2005 was over and they did Raw the next night, the man was basically a babyface again.
Yeah. Pretty much.
He was heel long enough to do the program with Hogan.
He almost wasn't even a heel because he was Shawn
Yeah.
Michaels. You were going to cheer him anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
With the whole heel turn thing, the WWE is now more affiliated with different like programs and foundations and stuff. I don't know if everyone would buy it because I mean, we get like the breast cancer awareness Susan G. Komen spot and all the Make-A-Wish, and you see like all
Be a
these
star.
little montages of all these different foundations and charities and donations and all this stuff, and John Cena's always the front runner for it, and he's always doing commercials and promos and like
Whenever Hulk Hogan.
we
Right. Yeah.
work at Kmart and he's on every single freaking WWE t-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, because even people that don't really know John Cena
Yeah.
or know wrestling, they know John Cena.
Right, which is
You see
very
him on
much like a
everything.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
Very much.
but now that the WWE is so involved with all these other things, the guy that they're using to promote all this stuff is now a bad guy.
Yeah.
It might drive people away from that.
It would be hard, but I say, why not just go ahead and go for it?
Oh, I'm saying try everything once.
Yeah, exactly. Just go for it, and like have everything that Cena has done. Just have him stop doing it.
Right.
Stop having his face on all the pictures for the Susan G. Komen stuff. Stop having his picture on the face of all the Be a Star stuff. You know, like everything that he does to help promote the different relationships that the company have. Just take his picture right off of it and have him just be completely against it. Because I'm pretty sure in 1996, that's what Hulk Hogan did when he and Eric Bischoff decided to turn Hogan heel and form the NWO. There was no more red and yellow. It was black and white. He still had a lot of his mannerisms, like ripping the shirt off, but like playing to the crowd, he really didn't do that. He didn't do the hand to the ear thing. He didn't do a lot of that stuff. Like he didn't pose. Cena could do the exact same thing. Cena can quit doing the you can't see me, doing the three fingers in the air.
Taking his shirt off and hat and throwing it in the crowd.
Yeah, the rally towel he has that he shows that says "Never give up" right before he goes down the ramp. You stop having that. You can get rid of all the bright colors that he's had over the last 5 years, and just be like flat black with just like I don't even know what slogan you could put on his shirt for a heel John Cena.
You
But-
can see me.
Right.
Look at me now.
Right. We weren't good. I didn't have this planned until later, but since we're already there with Cena and Hogan, we'll just skip to this. We'll go to what was supposed to be next, right after this one. I read an article. I'm sure you guys have read the same article.
Yep.
There is a possibility of Hulk Hogan wanting to have his retirement match at WrestleMania 31, and Hulk Hogan wants John Cena. Ideally, on paper, it's going to sell.
Absolutely.
No matter what.
You're too.
Take my $9.99.
Right. No matter
You would
what.
be able to see this match if it were to happen on the WWE Network for
$9.99.
There you go. Or you could just play it on
Free
WWE 2K14
or 2K15
or 2K15 if you buy the Hulkamania edition, which they're already out of because they only sold like 25,000 of them.
just like the Stone Cold.
Yeah,
13.
and like the Undertaker 2K14, the Phenom edition.
They had that.
Yep.
Yeah,
I missed
Had
out
it.
on that.
Yeah,
Shit.
I had a friend of mine buy that, and like he sent me all the pictures of it. Like it came in like a tin casket. It was like purple and had the Taker symbol on it. It had
I feel so stupid.
It had an exclusive code to get American Badass, and like and the entrance
I thought you knew this.
and the
I
big.
did not know this.
Yep.
I was just mad that I missed out on the Steve Austin.
Ladies and gentlemen, we just changed Jake's world.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I really wanted a Stone Cold autograph WWE 13.
Right. That would have been awesome.
Oh,
That would have
God,
been great.
Come on.
But we digress.
Yeah.
Hogan
Back
and
to Cena Hogan.
We have a problem with this.
Hey, but at least
The internet loves us.
It was talking. I mean, we were talking about Hogan, and then we went back to Hogan's 2K15 game. But whatever. It's big money. It would be huge money because apparently the only way WWE can get money, get buys for their pay-per-views is if they bring back the stars of old.
Which I wonder what that says about how much people care about their current roster.
It sucks.
Yeah.
I will say that. It sucks.
There's about a handful of guys out of all the people that are employed by the WWE that the universe, if you want to call us that, cares about.
Yep.
Outside of the former members of The Shield, Dolph Ziggler, Cesaro,
Yeah.
and Cena, and Orton, which those two you almost are starting to not care about because they're on every main event of everything.
Yeah. Everything.
No one else really matters anymore.
Oh,
Yeah.
There's, I mean, for people that are like diehard wrestling fans like us, I mean, we all still have those people that we.
Yeah, I got my undercard guys that I'll still care about.
Yeah,
you know.
I, until recently, like a couple months ago, I wasn't a Sheamus guy. Now I'm starting to become a Sheamus guy.
Right.
Man, the dude is a freaking tank.
I actually did start out being a Sheamus guy. Like when he first came in back in 2009 when he was on ECW, because I watched his old FCW stuff and I was like, I like this guy. He's big. He's powerful. He looks intense. And he's Irish, like, because international talent, foreign guys, they tend to have a different light put on them, whether the light ends up being good or bad. For Sheamus, it was good. Is that because he was friends with Triple H? That's neither here nor there. It could have a lot to do with it, but that's neither here nor there.
Just sweep that under the rug.
Right.
Under the proverbial rug.
Exactly. A little bit, like a couple years ago, I stopped being a Sheamus guy because I was believing the internet hype. I let the internet control my thinking of Sheamus. I've just recently gotten back into back as being a Sheamus guy, and I will praise his Night of Champions match with Cesaro until he does something else, because that was a great match.
It's pretty much like just 2014 from the beginning. That's whenever like I saw like a turn in Sheamus, and like, that's whenever I like started getting behind this guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like for a while he was just like plateaued off for me. Like there was nothing special to him. But then like I don't know, some just struck me with him.
Right.
So.
But yeah, the Cena Hogan match, like
we did it again.
Well, we were talking about the other guys on the roster, and them apparently being like nothing compared to all the old timers or the part timers, however you want to refer to them.
What strikes me about this potential WrestleMania main event, though, at first, when I first heard about it, I was against it for two reasons. One, we can't have too many once-in-a-lifetime matches before it's not once-in-a-lifetime anymore.
Yeah.
We did involving John Cena.
We did once-in-a-lifetime with The Rock and John Cena, and then next year we did once-in-a-lifetime again with The Rock and John Cena. Like,
twice in a lifetime.
And before that, we did Rock and Hogan. Like,
Which, that wasn't... Thankfully, they didn't bill it as once in a lifetime, because we actually got it once again a year later, because they did No Way Out 2003.
Yeah.
Well, they main evented that show, by the way.
and it was just
thankfully they didn't bill it the same way.
Icon, which is good, and I understand that we need these matches, and we should have these matches every now and again. But if you do them too much, to me it cheapens the impact of what that match is. Two generations colliding like that. It shouldn't be something that I'm gonna expect every single year. It should be something that it happens every once in a while, and it's something that's awesome, and it should involve different people. We don't need a third John Cena clashing with, the days of old. Give me something.
The old lion, Hulk Hogan, the oldest lion of WWE's kingdom. And
on top of that, the second reason I wasn't sold on it at first, and I'll get to why I'm sold on it now in a second. But the second reason why I wasn't completely sold on it, guys, that match is gonna suck. Let's be honest. First of all,
there's gonna be so many right hands and big boots and flying forearm or flying shoulders,
flying shoulders, 5-knuckle shuffle.
We're gonna see so much hulking up if this match ever happens.
Okay, Hulk Hogan is 906 years old. Okay, this Hulk Hogan used to main event with Jesus. This man is old. He is not. He's not gonna. First of all, he was never really technically gifted in the ring. Like
no, he used to be.
Like he was never really like the guy where it's like that Hulk Hogan match
right,
was
like
incredible.
Yeah,
like, he didn't give you a lot of OMG moments. You
know right, yeah, not like oh man.
He gave you a lot of feel good moments. A lot of like this is special. A lot of the crowd is eating this up, but it wasn't a lot of like
send the home happy kind of stuff. Like that's what Hogan was.
It wasn't a lot of when you look at what you would call the move of the night in the match of the night. It was rarely something that Hulk Hogan did.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so. He's not the guy that's going to do that. And then, John Cena, God bless him, he's trying. But every time that man does a Hurricane Rana, every time that man does a Tornado DDT, every time that man throws a drop kick, I want to go to whatever city they are in, walk down the ramp myself, get in the ring, and smack the fire out of it. Because that is not what you do, John. That is not what you do. You are not good at that stuff. Okay? Now, I know John Cena is bigger than me. John Cena is stronger than me. I would not fight John Cena. I cannot do what that man is good at in the ring. I can't do the things I'm criticizing him for doing. But that doesn't mean that I can't look at him and say, John, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing that. It's not your thing. So, he is not the most technically gifted wrestler.
No, he's not. He's not.
So, when you put two guys like that, two guys that are just big, swole, muscle-bound guys, and say,
even Hulk Hogan is 964.
Steal the show. It ain't going to happen.
No.
They're not going to steal the show.
That's what you tell Dolph Ziggler, because that's what Dolph Ziggler is going to do.
Yeah,
Dolph Ziggler is going to steal the show.
These two guys aren't going to do that. It's going to be a feel-good moment. It's going to be an iconic moment. I like the idea of the match for the iconic appeal. But I don't like... This isn't going to be one of the matches that's like, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
This is going to be one of those matches where after it, they're going to stand in the ring, look at the crowd, hug, cry.
They're going to pose together. They're going to hit Hogan's music whether he wins or not.
Right.
And they're going to do, and...
They're going to do the Hogan thing, which I could probably still do, like, without thinking about it. Cause
okay, hold on. I just thought of this, though. Is it not a little bit of foreshadowing that John Cena's colors he's wearing right now are red and yellow? Let's hold on to that. No. What I'm saying, that now I kind of see why they want to do the match, where I'm kind of supporting it now. I didn't think about this till I read it on the interwebs. But, like you alluded to earlier, them wanting this to be, Hulk Hogan's farewell final match. That man doesn't want to finish his in-ring career in TNA.
No.
And he shouldn't have to.
No.
An illustrious career like that where you helped build this company.
For 30 plus years.
For 30 plus years. As WWE fans, new, old, present, whatever, you kind of owe it to him to let him finish his in-ring career at the grandest stage of them all, he main evented how many WrestleMania? 7, 8 of them?
He main evented WrestleMania 7 out of 8 times.
7 times.
Yeah, he was WrestleMania 7 out of the first 8 events. So
you owe it to him to let him finish his career there, and who better to finish it against than the man who, for all intents and purposes, really filled his shoes. You know what I'm saying? He, like we just got done saying,
out of this superhero-esque role.
John Cena is that larger-than-life superstar. He is the Hulk Hogan, rather, of our generation. So who better, if you're going to let him finish his career on the grandest stage of them all, the biggest show in the biggest company in this industry, why not let him finish it against the biggest star the industry has right now?
Yep.
And so for that and that alone, bring me this match at WrestleMania 31. I'm with it.
Something just hit me. Not literally. You didn't have to do that. But from what we were talking about earlier of being a potential Cena heel turn, what if it happened at WrestleMania?
If he turns heel on Hogan,
pulls an HBK,
and drops
if he super kicks Hogan in the ring. It's another move John shouldn't be doing.
I could imagine. I'm thinking about I don't know what Levi Stadium looks like.
It's pretty dope.
I know it's where the 49ers play now.
Yeah.
Did they start doing it this year?
Yeah, this is the first year.
Okay.
Coming from a 49ers fan.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't.
New stadium.
I don't know what Levi Stadium looks like. I don't know how WrestleMania 31 is going to look like.
It's on the new opening, not an opening thing, but like the segment that they promote the new WrestleMania
commercial.
with. Yeah,
for
commercial.
WrestleMania.
Thank you. Sorry.
Is it? Do they show it a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Okay.
show the actual.
Yeah, they do
stadium.
like a kind of like a flyover.
Right.
I'll look
Okay.
up- I'll look up a picture for you on the interwebs.
All right.
Mobile device where you can
Again-
download the WWE app.
For absolutely nothing. It's
Go
actually
to your
free.
App Store.
Yeah, whichever
All right, I'm done.
whichever app store you have. Again, like I haven't seen exactly what Levi Stadium looks like. I haven't seen. Clearly, we don't know what the stage for WrestleMania is going to look like until 2 days beforehand.
Golden Gate Bridge, probably.
Probably. They're in San Francisco. Well,
Yeah.
basically San Francisco. It's the Bay Area.
Yeah, exactly.
They might probably very well may do what they did with 29 and when they did the
Brooklyn
Brooklyn
Bridge.
Bridge. They might put the Golden Gate Bridge. I could see that. But I can picture Cena at least trying to pick up Hogan and try to drop him with an AA, which will probably break his back. Okay, I'm looking at that. Yeah, that does look pretty nice. And then this is Levi Stadium. Yeah, that looks pretty good. They could. How many 49ers fans can fit
A shit ton.
in Levi Stadium? What is the capacity for Levi
My goal in
Stadium?
life is to sit in one of those seats. But, anyways, with it being Hogan's like send-off match,
Mhm.
I don't know. Since he has such a prestigious
Right. And with it being Hulk Hogan, he'd probably want to go over.
Excuse me, if I may interject here for a second to answer your question, Charlie. The capacity of Levi Stadium is 68,500, but it is expandable to 75,000.
All right.
So
That's
yeah,
WrestleMania
yeah. So yeah, we'll probably get 75 to 80,000 people in
'Cause of
Levi
force
Stadium.
seating,
Yeah,
But
and with it being a football field,
yeah.
there's that extra,
Yeah,
But
y-
you gotta take into account
footage.
the size of the stage.
Yeah.
That's going to take up a shit ton of area.
Yeah. So yeah, probably 75,000.
But I mean, still a
Maybe
decent crowd.
80. Yeah, definitely for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
If you can get 75,000 people, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
It's going to be very nice to look at because there's going to be so many people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I love about WrestleMania.
But back to what I was saying, I don't know if they would kind of ruin Hogan's moment since he's so prestigious and held to a high regard by everyone in the wrestling world. Like, you could ward off wrestling throughout your entire life, but you still know who Hulk Hogan
Yeah, you know
is.
who Hulk Hogan is.
So, I mean, you're not... His send-off it wouldn't just be for wrestling fans. It'd just be for anyone that would know.
Yeah, it would
who
be
Hulk Hogan is.
for a fan of entertainment,
From
quote unquote.
Hogan Knows Best on VH1.
Mm-hmm. Where I watched many a season of
I
that
watched
show.
every single episode. I had the biggest crush on Brooke Hogan. For anyone that's watched like Regis in the Morning or saw him at Disney World, like
Or even back in the 80s when he had his own cartoon.
Oh gosh.
yeah,
I think
episodes of that.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
Lord.
it would be a perfect moment for a Cena heel turn, but since it's such a
Yeah, if it
it's
were
a
to be
historical
Hogan's,
moment that we will be in, I don't know if they would do it.
right?
Another thing that I heard, and I don't know how much credibility that there is to this, is Brock was actually was supposed to be dropping the belt to Cena at Night of Champions
Mm-hmm.
because they weren't sure about, with his health issues
Right.
and, with his contract issues and things of that nature. But the reason they didn't was because they are looking into it, this Cena heel turn angle.
Right.
And they don't want to do it with him as the champion. They want to do
Okay.
it and then maybe give him the championship later
Right.
down the line
Right.
as a heel, but they don't want to do it with him having the belt
Right,
on him.
which is what happened with Hogan in '96. He turned heel at Bash on the Beach. The next month at Hog Wild, he won the title. So very much, it's crazy how many similarities there actually ends up being between Cena and Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see the match happening because Hulk Hogan, as you just got through saying, is old.
Very.
So incredibly old. Like
The only
he
thing
has
not old about him is his forearms.
This man has gone on record himself in saying, I regret ever using the leg drop as a finish because it's destroyed his legs, it's destroyed his hips, it's destroyed his back. And this is coming from the most popular superstar in the history of pro wrestling. He regrets having the leg drop as his finish.
Oh, and I mean, honestly, it's an iconic scene to watch him drop a leg drop. There's nothing fancy or interesting about a leg drop. It's basic.
Here's the thing.
You learned that in wrestling school on day one.
Look,
his leg weighs the same as you. That's a big man.
The Rock's finish was an elbow.
But he added something to it.
But still, it was an elbow. Looking back on it now, can you believe that you actually thought that Dwayne Johnson could beat a man with an elbow drop?
But why didn't he just do it in the beginning? You know,
and it was used, like he did use it as a regular move, and he even did, the pulling the elbow pad, like he did the whole theatrics before it became his signature move.
But you can't tell me, as a kid, even as an adult now, that you wouldn't give anything to catch one of those freaking elbows.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. There's so many things I would.
Man, I catch that elbow.
Hulk Hogan could have thrown me his bandana or something.
Hulk Hogan could throw me a piece of his ripped T-shirt, and I would cherish it.
And much people want to hate on John Cena. He throw that hat out in the crowd, and I catch it. Bet I wear it there.
Right.
Bet I wear that hat.
I'm gonna find
by the gate to get an autograph.
I'm gonna find him at the end of the show and be like, Cena,
Jonathan Felix Anthony Cena, you get over here.
Sign this because I caught it. I caught this. You threw it at me. You looked me in the eyes and you threw it at me.
We had a moment.
I
love you, John Cena.
I don't see it happening because Hogan is so old. He's had so many surgeries. He's got back problems. He's got hip problems. He's had the same amount of surgeries on his knee as a Kevin Nash or a Rey Mysterio. He would have to pass physicals. He would have to be in shape.
I actually read something about his physicals. I think it was on Bleacher Report. Didn't they say that they kind of be lenient or something with it?
They did mention that he's going to have to pass a physical. I don't know that they really need to be lenient about a physical. I mean,
yeah, because if we go into this match with Cena, what if Cena goes to pick this man up for an AA? Cena can pretty much just throw you in the air. That's a lot of his AAs, is just throwing them and then catching them on the way down and putting them. What if he goes to do that? Hogan lands flat on his back, and he does something to his back again.
Yeah.
He didn't get the proper training to help work out his back because he got a pass on a physical.
Mm-hmm. And somebody that is as strong as John Cena, that's not somebody you want to put an older guy against.
Yep.
I mean, we saw that with The Undertaker at WrestleMania going against Brock.
Yeah.
I knew that from the jump. The minute they announced that it was going to be Brock and Taker, my first reaction was Mark's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Not Taker's going to get hurt. Mark.
Yep.
Mark Calloway, as a human being, is going to get himself hurt because he is old and Brock is strong, and he doesn't. I don't even know if he knows his own strength.
Probably not. Can you imagine? We've talked about this before. Can you imagine if the 15 German suplexes that Brock did to Cena at SummerSlam? Could you imagine if he did that 4 months earlier to The Undertaker at WrestleMania?
There would be no Mark Calloway.
Exactly. What happened at the end of Taker Triple H at WrestleMania 27 would have happened at WrestleMania 30. Only would have been a lot more serious. They would have had to carry The Undertaker out.
Exactly.
On that little Zamboni cart thing.
That's the risk they run with someone as old as Hulk.
And Hogan's that much more older than Undertaker.
Yeah.
Hogan's got 20 years on Taker.
Really?
I think so.
How old is Hogan?
Didn't Hogan just turn 63?
This is a job for Siri.
Wikipedia.
Hey Siri, how old is Hulk Hogan? Hey Siri, how old is Hulk Hogan?
We got to do this twice.
Okay, I found this.
Okay, you know what, guys? Siri's not going to work for me.
That's why you don't trust Siri. I'm going to try to get into your phone. I don't even know the passcode. I don't even know what I'm doing.
No one knows my passcode.
Well, good. I don't need to know it anyway.
Only I know my passcode.
Well, good. Just Google it.
Just me and Jesus.
Quit using Siri. Just Google it.
You know what? I've been single for 18 years.
This is groundbreaking stuff here. We're not even talking
Siri's
about our own.
Siri,
your homegirl?
Siri is
his main girl.
my main
and his side girl.
That's all I got. He is 61.
Okay, there you go. 61. Hogan's like Taker's like 45, maybe. No, I think he's about 50. Yeah.
I think he was like
10
49.
years. I'll go back on that. He's got 10 years on Taker. But as I was trying to say, I don't see the match happening because Hogan's so old. He's
There's like
beaten
a 30-year
down.
age difference almost.
That too. He's beaten down. He's broken. He's had so many surgeries. I don't see him passing a physical. I don't see this match happening.
No.
If it's even a possibility, which I can understand if it's a possibility, I don't see it coming to fruition by March 29th, 2015.
I don't know.
Yes, it would be like Hogan's home state because he's from Venice Beach, but I don't see it happening.
I mean, I think it could happen, and I understand why it would happen, but I'd be okay if it didn't happen because that match is going to be horrible.
Yeah, it would be like the Rock Cena matches.
But it'd still be like Undertaker versus Lesnar.
Yeah,
it would be worse than the.
That was painful to watch.
Yeah,
I felt like the Rock Cena matches were okay. I don't think they were great.
Right.
I don't think they were like the greatest matches Rock's ever been in by any stretch.
By no way.
But I felt like they were decent. I don't even know if a John Cena Hulk Hogan match would be decent.
Yeah, it would be very, very hard. There'd be a lot of smoke and mirrors that you'd have to put on to even attempt to make that match look good. Speaking of Hogan and Cena, let's go to a man that has fought both of these guys at the biggest stage of WWE at WrestleMania. Let's go to The Rock.
If you smell The Rock is cooking.
Wow.
Last Monday night in Brooklyn, New York at the Barclays Center on Monday Night Raw, The Rock made a shocking return out of nowhere. No one saw it coming to have a confrontation with the hero of the Russian Federation, Rusev.
Of all people.
Of all people. Rusev Crush. Props to WWE for keeping it a secret for as long as they did.
Right.
No one saw it coming?
Totally a shock. I seriously think they did that. They didn't tell Michael Cole just so they could see what Michael Cole would react. As I told you Tuesday afternoon when we were watching it, because Michael Cole just acted like a complete.
Are you kidding me?
Fangirl.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
That's The Rock.
It was absolutely ridiculous the way he sold it and the way he kept talking about it, but it gave something to talk about, which is what we're doing right now. The Rock and Rusev had a confrontation. It was Rock and Lana who had a conversation.
I wouldn't say a conversation.
It wouldn't, well.
I feel like Rock kind of tore her apart.
Well, since you're the one talking, Jake, why don't you describe what happened and how you feel about what had happened? Since you're a Lana guy, you like Lana.
Who doesn't like Lana?
Well, yeah.
Fair
enough.
You scroll through her Instagram anytime the WWE tags her in a picture. Putting that out there. Am I right? Am I right?
I mean, I ain't gonna say you're wrong.
Exactly. But
so you're a Lana guy. You're the one who talked first. So we're going to give this one to you.
Oh man, I put this on myself.
Yep. How would you feel about the Rock Rusev confrontation?
Anytime that you get The Rock on a mic, it is going to be pure entertainment.
The man got 2 chants that he's never gotten before, and he didn't even do anything. He got a "This is awesome" chant, which back when Rock was a main roster talent, they didn't even know that chant.
No.
I'm pretty sure he did get a "Holy shit" chant a couple of times, but
yeah, like rock bottoming 2 people through an announce table. Probably.
Yeah, but the "This is awesome" chant, I don't think Rock has ever gotten.
He created a Derek Jeter chant, for God's sake.
Well, they were in New York.
True.
And Derek Jeter is one of the best players to come out of New York, or at least for a New York baseball team.
In quite a while.
In the history of New York baseball. But anyway, we're not talking about Derek Jeter. We're talking about The Rock.
Derek Jeter.
Which I sorry, I kind of thought that to be kind of awkward the way he kind of pulled that off. I think it's just the way that Derek Jeter sounds whenever you what's the word I'm looking for? Not chanted, but syllables. There we go. The way, like, if you cut it up into syllable, it just sounds weird. So it came off to me as awkward, but
in New York,
anything
they can do to celebrate Derek Jeter. There.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jay.
The Rock, just to get to his punchlines, was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he described his entire day of going through all of New York just to say The Rock has finally returned to Brooklyn.
Yep.
New York, whichever one they said. And
I think he said Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean, it was just classic Rock stuff. Like,
it was your typical Rock
he
promo.
could have said this shit back in 1999, and it would have got the same response as they got last Monday.
Yep.
And I just think that was golden. And some of the comments in there were a little crude, but
not very PG. But it's The Rock, and he's a product of the Attitude Era. So
I pray to God that hopefully we can get a little more edgy. But yeah, like the whole having something shoved up your Putin, I thought was hilarious. Now, as like
there was that, and then there was a Soviet streetwalker comment.
Yes, but like hopefully, since we're in this PG era, since there's younger kids watching it, like when I was 6 years old and watching wrestling, I would not have understood the whole Putin joke or the streetwalker.
Yep.
But now, as a 21-year-old man, like considers myself
man,
a man,
right?
I have a beard. So your argument's invalid. But yeah, so I think that it kind of all the old school attitude people of our generation that watched wrestling growing up, I feel like it kind of like revived that spirit.
Yeah, which is what guys like The Rock, guys like Stone Cold, whenever they come back, is to just give you that little dose, pumping the blood in, getting everything ready to then shoot it into your veins of the Attitude Era.
I used to do Stone Cold beer bashes with like the little barrel juices on my trampoline when I was 6.
I used to mimic Triple H's water spitting thing.
I did in the shower all the time.
I did today. I drank a bottle of water at work. I was back in receiving. Spat the water up in the air.
He does it in our living room.
That is true. I do it at home.
And speaking of the Attitude Era, and that we said last week that we are products of the Attitude Era, which is probably why we're very angry and very angsty today. Back in the 90s, people had the grunge era, which is why they were very angsty and very angry. But for pro wrestling fans, we had the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
I still believe it's because of the Attitude Era why I'm so angry and very fly off the handle quickly kind of person. If you to quote Austin from his documentary, if you keep poking me with a stick, I'm gonna blow up.
Yep.
I think it might be because I'm a product of the Attitude Era.
That has something to do with it.
Yeah.
That and this bullshit like pop music.
Yeah.
I blame that a lot on my anger.
True.
And just people in general. A lot of people piss me off.
Yeah.
Anyways, I digress.
The Rock is a great product of, if you want to get basic heel or babyface heat, just talk about the city you're in.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Damien Sandow.
You want to get over as a heel in a certain city, you berate everything that's good about that city.
From their sports teams to just
famous
people in general.
If you want to get over as a babyface in a particular city, you do the exact opposite of what the heel did. So what did The Rock do? He talked about going through all the boroughs in the state of New York. He talked about going through a certain bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge. He talked about Derek Jeter in a positive way. Yes, The Rock was going to get chanted no matter what, but talking about the state of New York, it helped.
Yeah.
That's basic heat getting, whether you are a babyface or a heel. And The Rock's always done that, though.
Yeah.
Mick Foley's the same way, because all he's got to do is, right here in insert city here, and the people go nuts. It's cheap pops, and it's cheap heat, but it works. And The Rock's a huge a part of that. Like, he's a huge example of that.
Here's how I feel about the Rock segment on Raw. Couple of things, actually. first of all, I do love that they kept it a secret.
Yeah.
I mean, the electricity and the energy in that place was absolutely
If
incredible.
Rock was alone in that promo and had like 20 minutes, he probably would have done that goofy goosebump thing he does, like where he holds up his arm. It's like, I got goosebumps. Do you see this? And, rubs his arm.
Yeah.
That goofy thing he's done a couple of times.
And
If he had been alone, he probably would have done that.
And, I think that contributed to the energy was just the fact that no one knew.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a surprise. Like, if you're in that arena and you don't know The Rock's there and his music hits and here he comes, you're going to freak all the way out. I mean, I was in my living room completely losing my mind.
Right.
And I loved a couple of things about it. First of all, the fact that he literally hit Rusev with every Rock punchline he has. Like, everything other than turn it sideways and stick it up. Yeah. Like, that was the only one he didn't hit. But
I'm surprised he didn't, because he very could have easily done it with the medal.
Yeah.
The hero of the Russian Federation medal.
Maybe he just ran out of time or whatever. But.
And it's probably to avoid more confrontation from the previous week. Of
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah.
Which we talked about last week.
But he gave you everything you wanted as a '90s wrestling Dwayne Johnson, The Rock fan.
Yeah, and as a Rock fan, that's what you want.
And that's what you want, and that's what you expect. And he delivered on that, and it was absolutely just mind blowing and incredible to watch. And I loved every second of it. But I also love the fact that on a storyline and on an industry level, it seems like they made Rusev look normal and human. Because...
Which is about time.
It's about time because, like I said before, I said it last week, this man needs to lose. Okay, we get it. He's not going to be a WWE World Heavyweight Champion anytime soon. Why are we making this man out to be a freaking superhero? Something needs to give with this Rusev angle. And I loved that from a storyline perspective. You got this guy in the ring, and he's talking stuff, and he's acting like, oh, I hate America, and blah-de-blah-de-blah, and you're thinking, the Big Show, or maybe even Mark Henry, somebody's going to come out, and out comes The Rock.
The last theme song you ever thought to hear.
But the one that there's not a single theme song that would have made you happier this side of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yep. If the glass would have shattered.
That's the only way I can imagine it being louder in that arena.
There would be no Barclays Center.
Or if they did Hogan.
Maybe Hogan. Well, no, because you're used to Hogan.
Well,
he's been on the show.
And then he was on Raw last week. So
had it been Stone Cold, it's the only way I can imagine being louder.
I agree. There would be no Barclays Center.
But here comes Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson coming down that ramp, and you just know he's about to give it to Rusev. And here it is. As soon as these catchphrases and everything are done, and The Rock already reminded you, okay, I'm the most charismatic, entertaining, electrifying man to ever step into this ring. He just as quickly reminded you, and I can throw these hands and knock somebody out. And he starts giving it to Rusev, and he knocks him over the ropes, and you're thinking Rusev's going to charge back in, but you see him second guess himself, and he's like, no, I can't do it, and he runs away. And from a storyline perspective, it made Rusev look human, but also from an industry perspective. Here's this guy that's been running through everybody, squash matches, beating everybody, starting to beat, pretty big names, with Mark Henry and this thing he's in with Big Show.
At least long-standing names like a Mark Henry. Mark Henry's been in WWE forever.
From the time that SmackDown was made 15 years ago, there are 4 guys that are still on the active roster. Big Show and Mark Henry are 2 of them. So here's Rusev beating these guys, long-tenured guys. Then all of a sudden, here comes this part-timer.
Right.
This guy that, he helped build the industry, but he's not here anymore. He's not going to be on Raw next week. I almost guarantee you. But
I'll be surprised if he's on SmackDown 15.
I think he's actually going to be on SmackDown 15.
Yeah.
From what I've been hearing, and I think that's part of why he's on Raw. Like, if we're going to have you come in this week for a SmackDown taping, we're going to put you on live television.
Yeah, and keep it a complete secret.
Yeah, and so here comes this guy, this part-timer, and Rusev. Oh, you're going to have to put him over.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even though you're big stuff right now, somebody's coming in that's not going to be here next week and probably not going to be here next month and maybe not next year. But you're going to put him over right now. And the whole world's going to watch you get punched in the face by this guy. So I just loved watching that happen from a personal standpoint.
But do you think The Rock being on the show, since Hercules and everything, do you think this could be for promotional reasons? I mean, we did have Batista for like 3-4 months or whatever, but I mean, it's kind of different, but it's kind of not, because I mean, the Hercules movie is.
Yeah, Hercules
has to come out, right?
Hercules has already come out.
Oh, it has?
Yeah, in theaters, yes. Hercules has been out for a couple of months now in theaters.
Well, it shows how much I know. I don't have cable. So.
The only reason why I know Hercules has been out for a while is
He's still big as hell from out for Hercules. So
yeah.
Swole.
He's probably
He took off that Brooklyn jacket.
right. That Mike Tyson. Yeah. When it comes to me, I jokingly and sarcastically said to start the show, The Rock officially welcomed Rusev to the WWE roster. I mean that in the way that no matter who you are, no matter how much of a push you are getting, no matter how revered you may be, somewhere down the line you're going to have to put over a part-timer.
Yep.
No matter what. Rusev was just another spoke on the wheel, another cog in the gears that is WWE.
Once The Rock's music hit, that moment was no longer about Rusev.
I would have been shocked if Rusev kicked Rock and put him in the accolade. That's what really would have shocked me.
Mm-hmm.
And it being The Rock, very much like a Hulk Hogan, I don't see that happening.
Right, but
The only reason why John Cena beat The Rock at WrestleMania 29 is because he's John Cena.
right,
Who else is going to put
established?
and he's gonna carry this company. Rusev isn't gonna carry the company.
No.
But Jake, you asked the question. Was it more of a promotional thing? And I would say,
Not just for the Hercules movie. I mean, Rock is
For
booked
anything that Rock's doing.
Rock is booked for so many movies.
well, here's the thing though with The Rock. Like you said, he's booked for so many movies. He's Hollywood now. Not that I don't love The Rock, but he's Hollywood now.
Yeah.
Everything that man does is a business move.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So even if he wasn't on Raw to promote a movie, he was on Raw to promote a movie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He was on Raw to promote the brand of Dwayne The Rock Johnson. which includes all his movies.
That angle, that segment probably got put on E! News. It probably got put on
TMZ.
Extra, on TMZ.
It made headlines somewhere.
I-
To get The Rock any kind of publicity he can get, that's good.
On my Facebook wall, because they do the little, they have the little trending thing. Rock was on the top of that list.
Yeah.
And it said The Rock, and then a colon and a little description. And it said, Dwayne Johnson brings back his wrestling character on Monday Night Raw. Now, the wrestling fan in me, that kind of got me, like right there, right in the heart, because I was like, that just proves to you what...
He is not a character, he is The Rock.
That just proves to you what Dwayne Johnson is. And it was kind of sour to me. But just what I said, Rusev is just now become another name on the roster, and he is just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I have to say about that. I read an article.
And that's all I have to say about that.
And that's the bottom line. Because Shoot Nation said so.
Booyah.
Plug.
I wrote an article a couple of weeks ago. It had something to do with the top NXT names to be called up to the main roster, and these are the names. These are the names that this article said, and I agree with every single one of them. Adrian Neville,
Yep.
current NXT champion. Sami Zayn,
Amen.
Please be.
Glory be to Jesus.
Please.
Tyler Breeze,
Yes.
Character change, and I'll be totally behind it.
Keep his character. He's the future of the business.
Hideo Itami,
Yes.
Kenta.
the former Kenta, Finn Balor, the former Prince Devitt.
Yes.
Still needs to be on NXT TV before,
One more month, November 6th is when what I'm calling Bloody Thursday.
I cannot wait.
And then the soon-to-be former because his name hasn't been announced yet. Kevin Steen, and I've codenamed Kevin Steen Jacques Pierre because it's the two most French names I could come up with. And I have a feeling
Pierre it is.
Jacques Pierre, and I have a feeling that Kevin Steen's WWE name is going to have a very French flavor to it. Kenta
Sylvain Grenier, Rene Dupree, and then there was Rob Conway. That pissed me off.
He was a French sympathizer, though.
Yeah.
He wasn't French.
I know, but you were still in La Resistance, and your name is the most American-ass name I've ever heard. Like, come on. They could
You
have
sound
kept
like
Rob.
somebody's lawyer.
They could have kept Rob, but make it a French last name.
Like,
I'd have been behind it. But yeah, this dude comes out, and I was like, I'm not buying this stuff. 12-year-old me didn't even buy it.
I see. I would think Steen's name would have a very French flavor to it. Kenta is Hideo Itami, though it comes from a Japanese man, and it comes from the Japanese word of pain. Prince Devitt is Irish, and his name has an Irish flavor to it as Finn Balor, two Irish mythological warriors, and one being the demon god of death in Balor. I see Kevin Steen's name having a French flavor because he is French Canadian. He was born in Quebec. French is his first language. Maybe they'll do something with French. Maybe not, since there's the Legionnaires, which is Sylvester Lefort and Marcus Louis. So maybe not. But I do see him having a very French-sounding name. Maybe not too French like Jacques Pierre, but that's just what I'm going to codename him. But those are the 6 names that I've read that they plan to call up to the main roster. And I agree with all 6 of them. They have
wholeheartedly agree.
They have said that they don't want Itami, Balor, and Steen to be in NXT for very long. They're gonna be called up before 90% of the rest of the NXT roster.
I think they're smart enough to know these guys know what they're doing. They've
And-
wrestled all over the world.
Yeah, and the only reason why Itami is down in NXT is to do what the original Sin Cara didn't do, and that's learn English
tone his
and
kinks
adjust
down.
to the style, which I can totally understand that. That's why I'm not upset with Hideo Itami being in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not upset with Kenta being in the developmental territory because A, he needs to learn English, which is something Sin Cara did not do. That's the one flaw that Triple H has had since having control over the talent.
Well, and picking
Triple
a
H.
Sin Cara with a shoulder tat, so now we know it's the same guy every week.
Well, Unico just recently got that shoulder tat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he hasn't had that shoulder tat forever. Like, he just recently got that after they released, the original Sin Cara, Mystico, the former Mystico. Now he's got a different name, which is weird. It's because he went to AAA, and the Mystico name is a part of CMLL, which is like number 2 in Mexico. So CMLL still holds the rights to the Mystico name. So when Sin Cara, the original Sin Cara, went to AAA, they had to change his name. And he was trying to get Sin Cara to be his name in Mexico, but WWE owns the rights, clearly, because someone else is playing Sin Cara.
Yeah, and he's on every toy shelf that you see at
Yeah.
any store as an action figure, but I would not buy my kid a Sin Cara action figure. Or mask, or combo pack with him and Scooby-Doo. Anyways.
That, and you can get the John Cena one, too.
Very true.
Yes, Jake and Michael work at Kmart, and of course Kmart's had a long-standing relationship with WWE.
We have the best WWE action figures
Actually,
ever.
2 weeks ago, Big Show visited a Kmart, and I was jealous.
It's because Big Show can't find Cape Girardeau on a map.
Hey, he's been here a couple times.
I guarantee you it wasn't him who got himself there.
Oh, yeah. Hey, but I know
He was
a guy-
probably riding with, Daniel Bryan, and it was probably Bryan who was driving the car here.
I actually know somebody that toured him around our stadium and got to go to the back and hang out with him and stuff. So that's the most intimidating thing in his entire life.
Oh, yeah, probably. I have no doubt.
I'd shit my pants.
But
First.
the top NXT names to be called up, those are the top 6 that they're really wanting to bring up. And I agree with every single one of them, including Itami, Balor, and Steen. Because, as you said, Michael, they've been wrestling all around the world. They've been wrestling forever. Kevin Steen has been wrestling since like his 16th birthday. His debut match was on like his 16th birthday.
Wow.
And he's been doing it ever since.
So what, he's probably like 25 now?
He's 28.
Wow.
I think. Yeah, he's like 20, maybe 30. He might be in his 30s. I know Kenta is like 33. So like he's still, yeah, like it's amazing because Kenta's a legend in Japan and he's not even halfway through his 30s. I think Devitt's the same way. But I agree with all 6 of these names. And I agree with not letting Kenta, Devitt, and Steen be in NXT for very long. Mm-hmm. Because, again, the only reason why Kenta went down to NXT was so that he can learn English and adjust to the style a little bit.
I have a question for you. Was it 6? Yeah.
Yeah, 6.
The 6 projected to go to the WWE. What do you see them doing with them? Because, like, I could see, like, Sami Zayn kind of being that, like, go-to person, like, the ultimate good guy. Not like John Cena.
Right, but like
how people are with, like, Rey Mysterio. Like, he's the high flyer. He's, like, flashy and stuff. I
can see Sami Zayn almost going, like, Daniel Bryan-ish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I could see them being, like, starting out Neville as, like, a hardcore face, and then him having a turn, because people are still in matches. Some people are starting to turn on Neville. Mm-hmm. Like, you can hear it in the crowd. Like, you can hear it change.
And it has something to do with the fact that Adrian Neville's main rival in NXT is Sami Zayn.
But yet he's coming to the 8 of them right now.
And I just want to go out here and say, British wrestlers make the best heels.
Yep.
Guys with British accents just
make great bad guys. It's like the Jaguar commercial. Have you ever wondered why most British guys are villains?
It just sounds right.
Yeah. And
William
I think
Regal.
Die Hard.
Exactly. I think Adrian Neville could be a great heel in the main roster.
Oh, yeah.
A great heel. To answer your question, what do I see WWE doing with the 6 of them? At first, hopefully they can replenish and revive and regenerate the Intercontinental and United States title pictures.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Dolph as an IC champion. But he's like the first IC champion
that has mattered,
that I've actually paid attention to, that I actually gave a shit about.
Yep.
Nobody cared when the title was on Big E Langston.
Val Venus.
Let's be real.
I'm a huge Big E guy.
I like Big E.
I love Big E.
No, that wasn't a dig at Big E.
Yeah.
I like Big E. I think he's awesome. But when he won the Intercontinental Championship, it wasn't like you were like,
nothing happened.
Oh man, this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
And he wasn't in a whole bunch of great feuds.
Yeah,
with it.
Promos, nothing.
Yeah. But I would hope that they would like put him in to kind of replenish and revive, as I said, regenerate the IC and US title pictures. As the indie fan in me, I would love for them to put Sami Zayn and Kevin Steen in a tag team, because Kevin Steen and El Generico were one of the best tag teams that Ring of Honor ever had. Super over as a team. It helped that they were both French Canadian. They both knew each other outside of the ring. It worked. One of ROH's best tag teams. And I feel like they missed the opportunity when they had Cesaro and Cassius Ohno, and they never brought Ohno up, and they never revived the Kings of Wrestling for WWE. Like, I even had a fantasy booking on how you could bring Cesaro and Ohno in as the Kings of Wrestling. But I would hope, like I as the fantasy booking and the indie fan in me, I really would love to see Zayn and Steen be a tag team in WWE and just tear up the tag team division in WWE.
Go
ahead.
I have a question, just for both of you, really. Out of the 6 that we're discussing on this rise of NXT here, when they get to the main roster, who do you see grabbing that brass ring and, becoming World Heavyweight title contendership first? Like, who do you see being the guy out of that group first?
Ooh. That's something to sink your teeth into.
I know.
You're gonna love this when I say this. The only one I don't see is Tyler Breeze.
Fair.
And it does, as much as I love the gimmick, it has a lot to do with his gimmick. Do you honestly see the World Heavyweight Champion being this quote-unquote selfie king and
Absolutely
Prince
not.
Pretty?
I see him Intercontinental Champion at best.
When it comes to who I would think, I honestly can't answer that. Maybe...
Because there's so much taken into consideration. I mean, because you don't, okay, let's take Kenta, for example. Great in-ring talent. But if, let's say, his English doesn't come together the way he wants to do, will the language barrier play a part in him? I mean, of course it will.
Yeah,
Of course it will.
definitely. If to even put a dent, I would say either Steen, Zayn, or Balor.
I agree. I would lean more towards Steen and Balor because Sami Zayn is more of the high flying. I mean,
He would be an underdog, very much like a Rey Mysterio and a Daniel Bryan.
And that's why I said, him being the next Daniel Bryan, because I feel like that's what it would take for him to be champion. The crowd would have to get behind him like they got behind Bryan.
Yeah, but most of the guys in this group are of the high flying sort. All of them can do some high flying stuff. Can do a 450.
Yeah, he could do the running cannonball in the corner, which there was somebody in NXT who was using that move for a while, and he was told to not do it because that's what Steen does. So like somebody within WWE is wanting Steen to use this cannonball move. That's unbelievable because normally your moveset gets toned down, much like a Kenta. I don't see him throwing as many kicks as he used to.
Neville and Zayn.
Yeah.
Because if you watch their indie stuff, that they do some stuff that is unimaginable.
But the fact that like Triple H or whoever is like, Kevin Steen, I want you to do that running cannonball in the corner because that's awesome to watch, and the fact that you can pull that off, that's amazing to me. So I pick Zayn, Balor, and Steen because their English is a little bit better. Yes, Balor is Irish, and Irish can be very hard to understand.
But we had Sheamus.
Take a look at Sheamus. You can understand what Sheamus is saying. He's not like a Drew McIntyre from Scotland, where it was very hard to understand what Drew McIntyre was saying, and it still is today. But even though Balor is Irish, I've heard him speak. Like, he can speak pretty well. Like, he's still got that accent, but it's not so overbearing.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like Neville's accent is a little like,
Yeah, Neville. I didn't put Neville in this because he does have that very hard English accent. It is kind of hard to understand him at times. Yeah. But if and then to pick from the three, if I had to, I'd probably pick Finn Balor.
That's what I was going to say. Because, I mean, he still has, like, your technical wrestling, like slams and everything. He still has his high-flying stuff, but he's still a very grounded wrestler.
He can brawl. He's got all the styles.
Now, with Steen, some of Steen's in-ring moves, outside of him doing his big stuff, they're not going to allow him to do. Like a package power driver, they're not going to allow him to do.
Yeah, I don't see Steen's package power driver being in.
Especially off the second rope.
Yeah. I would completely agree with you saying that David Balor would probably be the most likely candidate to be a world heavyweight champion.
At least to be world heavyweight champion first.
Yeah.
First, yeah.
Where do you stand?
Honestly,
Tyler Breeze. No.
Tyler Breeze. I'm.
In 2019, he's going to be the first ever network champion.
Can you imagine him taking selfies with the world heavyweight? But seriously, I kind of went into this torn between Steen and Balor, with my heart kind of tugging at Sami Zayn.
Right.
Because
you gotta love Sami Zayn.
I'm a huge Sami Zayn guy. I love what he does in the ring. I love the passion he attacks everything with. I just love everything about Sami Zayn's ability. And That's why I'm thinking, like, when he gets to the main roster, I don't see how the crowd's not gonna love this.
Oh,
guy.
he's going. He is going to be so super over, like a Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler like over, and it's going to be so great.
That's what I'm seeing in him. Because guys like Daniel Bryan and even guys like Ziggler, the fans kind of made their career because they had such a connection with the people. That the people would basically let WWE know through their reactions and their chants and their dissatisfaction with everything else that WWE was trying to push on them, that we want to see these guys succeed.
Well, Rumble 2014 for a perfect example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I can see something like that happening with the Sami Zayn, where people are like, we love watching this guy's matches, we love the connection and the energy that he gives us, we want to see him with gold.
Yep.
So my heart connection kind of lies with Sami Zayn. Like, I kind of want it. I really want to see him as champion.
Sami Zayn is like that perfect, like, feel-good wrestler. To talk about with, like, Hulk Hogan, was a very much let the fans go home happy kind of wrestler. Sami Zayn is just a feel-good wrestler. Yeah. Like, Sami Zayn can just make you feel amazing about yourself. And just to watch the man wrestle.
From watching him even in NXT, it's like, when I think the NXT setting helps with this because it's so small and intimate too, but I think he's the kind of wrestler that can take this to a larger scale.
Oh, yeah.
He has that Dolph Ziggler effect that when he loses, it's like you lose with him.
Yep, I was actually thinking the same thing. Yeah.
When he wins, it's like you win too.
Yeah, like you're just so elated. He would be
soaking it in with him.
He would be a fan's wrestler.
When he finally wins the NXT championship, can you imagine how crazy NXT is going to go?
Oh, that
when he gets
that
the first
arena,
main roster title, people are going to go nuts with this kid.
I will go out on a limb to say when Sami Zayn wins the NXT title, because there's only one guy that Neville should drop the title to, and that's Sami Zayn. At TakeOver 3 in December, that's the projected date, sometime in December, to do TakeOver 3, I guess would be TakeOver 3. And I'm saying you do Neville and Zayn. There's only one guy that you need to drop the title to, and that's Sami Zayn.
And the NXT universe is going to lose their minds.
Think back to when Big E won the NXT title from Seth Rollins. The place went nuts. Big E was so over in NXT. He had that 5-count gimmick. People were behind it. It made sense. People loved it. I could see the same thing happening to Sami Zayn. Whenever Sami Zayn hits the haluva kick or hits, whatever his other finish is.
Brainbuster? Or does he still do it?
Oh, I don't think, they don't have him doing a brainbuster. They got him doing the haluva kick, which I'm surprised they're actually keeping that name.
Spinning.
Oh, yeah, there's that. Yeah, there's that.
Tiger bomb or something.
Yeah, that.
Sorry, I was thinking Indies when you do like the top
rope. Yeah, the top rope brainbuster. I would love this if they would let him do the brainbuster.
Also, in comparison to like a Daniel Bryan, he's even got the crowd chant, the Ole.
Yep, and it's crazy because that goes back to his indie days.
Exactly.
Because his theme song in the Independents was Ole by the Bouncing Souls. That helped get him over as El Generico. And it's amazing. It's got to be because it's in Florida, and El Generico has a history in the state of Florida as an independent wrestler, and that can only help.
Yeah.
Like that can be the only one of the only reasons why.
Even though NXT is only on the network, but people watching the network see these people interacting with Zayn in this NXT crowd. They're gonna know that this is somebody to watch.
Yep.
Therefore, if he gets called up, or when he gets called up,
when.
There's no doubt in my mind that he's gonna get called up.
It's not a matter if, it's a matter of when.
People are gonna notice that people were watching this dude for a reason. And then when he goes to WWE, I think it's just gonna be sky's the limit for this guy.
I think WWE should even like do a thing on .com every now and again of like ones to watch in NXT.
Yeah.
So just in case there are those people who have the network, who've got their subscriptions, and the only thing they watch is like one of the original shows, like a Monday Night War or just the pay-per-views, and they haven't watched NXT, do a one-to-watch thing ones-to-watch thing on .com, like a little video.
And just like some highlights from them in NXT.
Right. Yep.
Like, still to this date in this year of 2014, I mean, no bias here, but Sami Zayn and Cesaro on the first NXT TakeOver still had my match of the year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, and that takes a lot for me because, I mean, we've seen some good-ass main events.
In this year.
Pay-per-views. Yeah. But still, if you go back and watch the first NXT TakeOver on the WWE Network for $9.99, it will open your eyes.
That match is amazing.
That is Sami Zayn, because it is incredible.
And that's why my emotional side, my heart side, wants Sami Zayn to eventually be that guy. But the industry business logical side of me says it'll probably be Steen or Devitt, most likely Devitt, because they're just the guys that they fit more of that mold of the WWE. They have a little bit more, like Steen's more of a bigger brawler type of guy, but can also do the high flyer stuff. Devitt is just kind of your quintessential like wrestler that you like. If you like, JBL says all the time, if you built a wrestler head to toe, it'd be Randy Orton.
Yeah,
I feel like Devitt's that kind of guy.
Yeah,
like
Devitt could be that guy. Yeah.
He would look like Devitt because the guy, he just looks like a total package. And he's creative.
He's ripped. Fergal Devitt is unbelievably ripped.
And then a little sidebar. I love the body paint.
Oh yeah,
I think the body.
That's gonna be
cool.
so over.
That's the coolest
if he
thing.
Did,
that's
like,
gonna be so over.
The Jeff Hardy thing. Too.
Yeah.
Like not like throwing the paint or anything, but using
an original. Yeah, and like an original design too, like
a glow in the dark, and then like his entrance have black light like right whenever he hits the stage, and then him glowing, and then lights come on.
Yeah,
I think that would just like that. I know.
And like he could just be standing there, and he'll be standing on the ramp, and just standing there because like he does this thing with his hands like when he's standing, and it looks.
Charlie's actually acting.
And it looks. Right now. I am acting this out. I also talk a lot with my hands
and his body
and with my body. So like I could just imagine, he's standing there and he'll just be like standing straight. And like I said, he does this thing with his hands, like he like crinkles his hands up.
Kind of like claws.
Yeah. So many pictures I've seen of Devitt where he's just, like he's standing there and he's taking a picture and like he like does like he holds his hand up and stuff, like just little mannerisms like that. It's just amazing. But yeah, those are the names that are being projected right now to be called up. I agree with all 6 of them. And to go on to Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze is a guy who's very much like Rollins and Ambrose. He's a product of the original FCW. Tyler Breeze was a part of Florida Championship Wrestling before they relaunched the developmental territory as NXT. Right. He's been here for a while. He's a product of Lance Storm's Wrestling Academy.
Which is something to be proud of.
Which is definitely something to be proud of. Lance Storm is one of the most underrated wrestlers and unappreciated in this history. Tyler Breeze has been waiting for a long time to find something that he can really sink his teeth in and that can propel him to the next level. And ironically enough, it's with I'll go ahead and say it, a silly gimmick as a guy who takes selfies and is very self-absorbed. Mm-hmm. But it works. It's working for Tyler Breeze.
We were actually talking last night about this. Like, this could be a, play on his actual personality. Mm-hmm. Like, he could actually be kind of like, I mean, I don't want it to sound negative, like, not really conceited, but kind of like a self-confident,
image conscious kind of guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, take away the whole phone thing, but still apply that to being a bigger roster person,
and just make him have him be very confident in his ability, the way he looks. Kind of like a Randy Orton back in 2002, 2003 when he was the Legend Killer. Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
Because, again, we were talking about this last night. If you look at every, I don't...
successful gimmick?
There you go. Stone Cold. He was a beer-drinking badass.
Yeah, he was a hard-working, blue-collar...
Exactly.
Working man. Yeah. Deep in the heart of.
Dolph Ziggler. Self-confident. Dolph Ziggler will flat out tell you he's the best, and he can make anything even better. Mm-hmm.
The winningest amateur wrestler in Kent State University.
Yeah, all these successful gimmicks aren't really
a piece
gimmick dominant.
Yeah,
they are still the person, but they're just kind of emphasized.
To quote, I think maybe Triple H has said that. A couple of people have said this, but I think Triple H is one of them. A lot of people's gimmicks where their real selves just crank to 11.
Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
Basically, the successful gimmicks zoom in on one personality trait of a person
And
just
just
blow it up.
blow it up.
Steroids.
Yeah, way beyond how it should be, and clearly not exactly. But yeah, like maybe that could be what Tyler Breeze would need to be considered in the world title picture.
Yeah.
Get rid of the cell phone, get rid of the selfie stuff. Even though I enjoy it, and I am not one to even say the word selfie because it's ridiculous. This whole like recreating of words that have happened over the last few years. But I enjoy it. I think it's hilarious. I don't think anybody else could really pull it off, except the man who is Tyler Breeze. But maybe that could be what Breeze would need to put himself in a world title picture compared to the guys like Adrian Neville, Sami Zayn, Hideo Itami, Finn Balor, and the soon-to-be former Kevin Steen, who I've codenamed as Jacques Pierre. But yeah, I enjoy what the future has in store as it comes to NXT. They say it on the opening video for NXT every week. The future starts now.
Absolutely.
The 6 guys, I like that future. I really do.
And this just created a great segue for the next segment involving the Ascension.
The Ascension. Okay.
So, rumor has it that the Ascension, not a set time on it, but the Ascension will join the Wyatt family.
It has been, that idea has been thrown around, at least that's what I have taken it. The Ascension, Connor and Victor, once again have been products of even before NXT. They were both in FCW. Connor O'Brien was actually a part of Season 2 of the original NXT when there were rookies and pros. Kind of fumbling around and bumbling around, not really finding anything he could sink his teeth into. And then started the Ascension, which was originally Connor O'Brien and Kenneth Cameron. But then Cameron was released by WWE after an arrest and I think assault and battery charge as well. He has now gone on to be Bram in TNA, which apparently that's working for him, and that's all great. WWE may or may not have dropped the ball with Kenneth Cameron. I always thought it would be cool if somehow they could mend those fences and Kenneth Cameron could come back and join Connor and Victor, and the Ascension would be a 3-man team. And you can even take he could just be Kenneth, Connor, Kenneth, and Victor.
Yeah.
Victor
Or Connor, Cameron, and Victor.
Well, since there's Cameron of the former Funkadactyls, so.
I don't like to think about the Funkadactyls.
I don't, except Naomi, because Naomi can actually wrestle if you give her a
it's
chance.
That whole gimmick of Brodus Clay.
Yeah. Victor, originally known as Rick Victor, was once again a product of the former FCW. Been around for a long time, at least in WWE developmental. Once Kenneth Cameron got released, Connor actually was being the Ascension by himself, like he referred to himself as the Ascension. And then whenever they rebranded NXT, eventually Victor came along and they eventually became just Connor and Victor. And to be one of the most dominant tag teams in NXT. And finally, the Ascension gimmick got over. Very nice to see on TV. I love the way their entrance is done, with the lights and the music and everything. It looks great. They look great. Finally, they're going to get called up. They're supposed to be called up sometime soon. And apparently it's been said that with these Luke Harper vignettes playing on Raw, that the Wyatt family will be splitting up Bray, Harper, and Rowan, basically for Connor and Victor to be taking the place of Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. And I will be the first to say, out of the three of us, I am not okay with that.
No. I don't know. I think it would work better if they joined and they were a large faction, and then the two, as quoted, are set free. I think that would be a better approach to it
Mhm.
because the characters of Harper and Rowan are
so tailor-made.
Are they gonna
For-
repackage those two?
they better because
I mean, it won't be believable if they're still Harper and Rowan and
Exactly.
looking.
I
at
could
them
see
the same.
Luke Harper being, again, away from the cult-like trance of Bray Wyatt.
Rowan I don't really see.
And to be the way he is in the Wyatt family, but on his own. He could be very Bruiser Brody-like. He already looks like Bruiser Brody, just with an athletic shirt on and a ripped pair of jeans. I could see Luke Harper looking exactly the way he is and still being a single star, because that's what he looked like when he was on the Independents. He has not changed the way he looks from transitioning from the Independents to WWE.
But
It's
that could be-
amazing.
But he could have an image change.
It
that
could.
change his character.
It could.
Now, as a man with a beard, I understand why like to shave it off. So I can.
I'm not saying you have to get rid of the beard. Now, if like you want to get rid of the athletic shirt and the ripped pair of jeans and like put the man in tights, or like whether it be like the Daniel Bryan-esque tights, or like an Edge,
Full
the long
hair.
tights.
Yeah.
If that's where you want to go, I think that'll be great.
Yeah.
You don't have to get rid of the man's beard. You don't have to like shave his head, even though he does have a bald spot. But
Yeah.
he's had that forever.
He's got that Manu Ginobili going.
I don't like the idea of Connor and Victor replacing Harper and Rowan.
And then what is one of them just gonna pick up a sheet mask?
I
Because I mean that's like really the only iconic thing about Rowan in the whole group is the sheet mask.
Yeah.
I feel like outside of the Wyatts, I don't really think that he would.
no, like
I don't think he'd go very far.
Eric Rowan would be the one that would get his pink slip and would be told, "Best
I feel
of
like
luck
we
in your
said the
future."
Same thing about Ambrose.
Very true. But towards the end of the Shield, that's whenever I started actually like,
Yeah.
this Ambrose dude is
Well,
going to be something.
That may mean that we need to wait until this end of the Wyatt thing,
Which I really
pans out.
hope doesn't happen.
If it's going to happen, we may need to wait and see if they're going to let them bring out some different personalities and see how those personalities adjust.
Maybe so.
But they never. The only time that you see Harper or Rowan in this Wyatt vignette that they keep showing every week, the only time you ever see Rowan is whenever they're like standing in front of the house. But the entire
And Bray's in the walking
video,
chair.
The entire video is centered around Harper.
Yeah,
So maybe they're pushing for more of a star-esque person out of Harper, and Rowan play to the mid-carder
yeah.
level.
I have thrown around the idea that maybe the Ascension gets called up and to be the fourth and fifth members of the Wyatt family, and the Wyatt family just gets stronger. What better way for Bray Wyatt to come back and for the Wyatt family to be put back on TV than the Wyatt family growing in numbers and bringing in these huge dudes and Connor and Victor. They are huge, especially Connor. Connor is even bigger than Victor, and Victor's a pretty big dude. Connor is huge.
Isn't he like 6'9", something like that?
I have no idea, but I wouldn't doubt it. He's at least halfway up the 6 foot mark, which would fall right into the hands of the Wyatt family, because when you look at the Wyatts, they only get bigger.
Yeah.
Bray is 6'3", Harper is 6'5", and Rowan is like 6'8". They only get bigger. You put in
AT&T.
right. You put in Connor and Victor, the Wyatt family literally just gets that much bigger.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to do that, I'd be cool with that, and then you break away the Ascension, because we all know the Ascension is the Ascension from NXT. They've gotten hugely over, doubted Full Sail. But I don't agree with swapping out Harper and Rowan for Connor and Victor. It doesn't fit what Connor and Victor are.
And would they fit to the image of the Wyatts? Because, I mean, right now they got this whole, like...
I don't even know
I
how
get,
to...
like, a Russian, like, metal vibe.
I don't even know how to
Ramstein or
describe like what the Ascension is, or like what their gimmick
Like a
is.
weird gothic,
Yeah, like maybe like a gothic lifestyle. Maybe I don't
got
know.
The long hair, but Connor's got like the mohawk.
Yeah.
Like little goatees. I mean, if they're gonna fit the Wyatt family, it's like
You would think they'd have to
essential
get a huge
big
right.
ass beard. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That takes some time too.
Oh yeah. Like you'd have to keep them off TV forever.
Or take some hair, skin, and nail vitamins.
Yeah. That's all I really have to say about the whole the possible Ascension Wyatt situation.
Be careful with it.
I don't think it should happen. I don't think you need to break up the Wyatt family, or at least take Harper and Rowan out, because without the Wyatt family, Eric Rowan is nothing.
Yeah.
Until I see otherwise, I'm gonna stick by that Eric Rowan is nothing.
But don't count him out.
Don't count him out. Like I said, until I see otherwise.
Yeah.
I
he
don't
is
see
a WWE superstar. They see something in him.
They see something in him. Tonight was at least the airing of the 15th anniversary of SmackDown. Taped back on Tuesday, which they all do for SmackDown tapings. If you did not know, the 15th anniversary of SmackDown was to be aired tonight on Sci-Fi. If you went to WWE.com, you sure found out pretty quick. Never have I seen so much promotion for a WWE event, and that's the one thing I can put on WWE is they always promote their events. They never do a lackluster job. But I feel like they did a lackluster job for SmackDown 15 until today when you go on .com, because 4 out of the 5 slides on the home page had something to do with SmackDown. SmackDown's best matches, SmackDown's best rare photos, SmackDown's best moments, something else involving SmackDown. You scroll down and on the little square links, it's preview this tonight's SmackDown. So like desktop, the screensaver, it's a SmackDown thing in the background. There's a little advertising banner that said SmackDown 15 tonight. Never seen so much promotion for a show that really hasn't been promoted on TV in a long time, or at least for SmackDown anyway. Because SmackDown, to quote Paul Heyman from his documentary, SmackDown is the bitch of WWE. WWE cares a significant amount less about SmackDown than they do Raw.
Main event, though.
Well, but main event we know is not even the tertiary brand. So what we're gonna do first, because we're not gonna bury SmackDown, is talk about the good and the bad of SmackDown. And the good meaning our favorite moments from SmackDown. Because yes, in the 15 years of SmackDown, they have had some great moments.
Absolutely.
And I'll start it off with probably my most favorite SmackDown moment, the Stone Cold Booker T Supermarket Brawl.
Oh yeah, anytime that you search Stone Cold on YouTube, that's going to be in your top 5 hits.
This still makes me laugh to this day if I ever go back and watch it. What happened to review everybody and to bring everybody back? This was right after Vengeance of 2001, where Booker T cost Stone Cold the Undisputed title. And I found out Booker T was actually a part of WWE after being sent away from the Alliance after WWE had beat the Alliance at Survivor Series. Austin was searching for Booker T. Austin was going to get his hands on Booker for costing him the Undisputed title.
And whoop some ass!
So Booker was running from Austin. They go to the supermarket. The greatest 15-minute segment next to This Is Your Life ensued, where the What app, only on Jake's phone.
Sorry, I had to.
No, it's cool.
We're talking about Stone Cold.
The greatest 15 minutes of WWE TV besides Mankind's This Is Your Life for The Rock ensued, where Steve Austin beat Booker T up and down this supermarket. He hit him with, I'm pretty sure, tortillas. He hit him with a roll of salami.
Crackers.
Crackers. He cracked eggs on the man's head. He threw diapers at him. Flour They had a fight in the back of, like in the
Receiving area.
the receiving area. Austin came through the milk thing, the milk doors with a gallon of milk. It's like, hey, Book, you got milk? And, ran after him and hit him. And he's got milk pouring all the way down him. Hilarious stuff.
And, like, the one-liners and the Austin's dialogue.
Yeah. Austin was commentating this whole thing, and it's hilarious. That's one of my favorite SmackDown moments. What about you, Michael? What would be one of your favorite SmackDown moments?
There's been, over the years, a lot of really cool SmackDown moments. Even though now it's kind of the lackluster B show and dang near a C show, if you will. Back in the day, there's a lot of really cool ones, but one of the ones that stood out to me was it was the SmackDown where Eddie had won the championship, and just that whole celebration.
Oh, that whole opening segment.
Because Eddie was one of my favorite wrestlers. You know what I'm saying? Like he was a guy I just really really loved watching. And for anybody out there that's an Eddie Guerrero fan, like watching him on TV was incredible.
Eddie really transcended over TV. He really popped over your television
did,
set.
Man. And face or heel, you felt everything that man said, and you felt everything he did in the ring. And I remember that particular title match he had with Brock. Nobody gave him a chance, including me.
Yeah.
Like I said, he was one of my favorite wrestlers, but him going in that match with Brock, in my head, my dude's about to get slaughtered.
Yep.
There's nothing I can do about it. And this is, of course, pre-WWE Network.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to see the pay-per-view.
Right.
So
I did get to see that pay-per-view. It was tremendous.
I had no idea.
Right.
So when I find out, on .com that week that, Eddie won, I'm losing my mind.
Right.
I'm like, oh my gosh. So I can't wait to turn to SmackDown. I could not wait to turn to SmackDown and see what happened. To see that moment of him coming out and celebrating, and there's confetti and
balloons,
to see the joy and the happiness in his face and in his heart, and it was incredible to watch. And then as a kid, you're looking at it and it's just it's a cool moment because it's his championship celebration, and he's one of my favorite wrestlers, and I'm a kid and it's awesome. But growing up and watching it later and seeing what he went through, you know what I'm saying, to get to that point, all the personal demons that he fought and all the things that he did in his career to get to that point where he could be, the WWE champion. To me, it made that moment that much sweeter. To look back on it in hindsight and realize, that's why there was so much joy and so much happiness. It wasn't just about winning the WWE Championship for him. It was vindication. It was I arrived. It was I defeated my demons. Because Michael Cole even said something to the effect of, Eddie Guerrero has defeated his demons. And at that time, I didn't really know what that meant. But looking back on it now, it's like, he really did. It was bigger than a championship.
Yep.
It was his life finally coming full circle and him getting that moment. So that's one of the SmackDown moments that, really stood out.
I had forgotten about that in my list of SmackDown moments that I remember. I've forgotten about that. And we kind of got that a little bit later in 2008 after Jeff Hardy had finally won the WWE title.
Yeah.
They dedicated 10 minutes, 10 or 15 of the opening minutes of SmackDown to Jeff's title win.
Yeah.
Because, again, personal demons. The man had been through everything. He lost his job. He was on the verge of losing it again.
Hadn't his house burned down at
Yeah.
that point? Or was that before or after? I mean,
And still,
I think it might have been right before the title when it happened.
And just the fact that the crowd had wanted this for so long with Jeff.
Because Jeff Hardy was so extremely over.
Yeah, and he had been doubted all these years because he was
His drug
looked as
problems.
and as a tag team guy, and
or
just, kind
just
of
an
a high
extreme
flyer.
guy.
Yeah, like
he's not going to be the champion, but he's going to be the guy that gives you that awesome moment in
Yeah.
the show.
Right.
yeah. So Jake, what's one of your favorite SmackDown moments?
I've been a wrestling fan my entire life almost, and there have been very few moments to where I could not help but just have my jaw on the floor drooling. And it was something that I've never seen before until a particular SmackDown episode when it was Brock Lesnar, even though however you feel about Brock Lesnar nowadays.
Brock Lesnar in 2003, because I know where you're going,
Yeah.
is a completely different animal
Yeah.
to what Brock Lesnar in 2014 is right now.
There was a match between Brock Lesnar and The Big Show. Now, bear in mind, Big Show is like 500 pounds, or so they say. Sometimes you hear like 420 to 500.
Yeah.
And Brock Lesnar is probably a solid 290, 300 pounds.
Always has been. Always has been.
Give or take, that's about 700 to 800 pounds worth of man. Whatever demon possessed Brock Lesnar to put, didn't Big Show fall? Big Show
was wanting to climb up the top rope to do something to Brock, yeah.
And whatever possessed Brock Lesnar was to superplex the Big Show off the top rope to the ring. And the ring just collapsed.
The ring imploded,
To
to quote Michael Cole.
Yeah. I seriously sat in my room as like a 8-9-year-old. I don't know how old I was, about 10 something.
Yeah.
I was 13.
So I was
you were
about 10. I sat there with my mouth wide open, even after the show went off. And my mom had to snap me back into reality because I could not believe what I saw. So that is one of the main SmackDown moments that I can recall. I mean, there's still some great moments on SmackDown, but that's definitely in my top.
That helped make SmackDown you put SmackDown in the same breath as Raw, even more so after that happened. I think. Another SmackDown moment I remember. It's in 2004, around October, I'd say, where Kurt Angle was in the middle of this feud with the Big Show. To go back on the Big Show, where Angle had Mark Jindrak and Luther Reigns at his side, right?
Shit.
Right?
Mark Jindrak. Sorry.
Angle had Jindrak and Reigns at his side to help feud with the Big Show. And Kurt Angle grabbed a tranquilizer, an elephant tranquilizer, and shot the Big Show in the back with one of these huge tranquilizer darts, incapacitating the Big Show, and then proceeding to shave the Big Show's head. That's a moment I'll never forget because I haven't ever seen anything like that. I have never seen a man pull out a tranquilizer gun on another man and then shoot him with it. And you could see the dart. You could see the dart hanging from the Big Show's back. It pierced the skin. It's hanging. That is a moment I will never forget. I will probably always bring that up. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that could have been an attitude moment.
Oh, yeah.
Because, that was pretty brutal.
That was pretty, that was messed up.
It was graphic.
Yeah.
But you liked watching it.
Yeah, I'll go back and I'll watch it over and over because it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Another SmackDown moment comes from the very first SmackDown. The first, not the pilot that they did in April of 1999. The first official episode of SmackDown when it was on UPN, which was either a day or 2 days after my 6th birthday. It was right after Triple H became the WWE champion the Monday before on Raw. So it was right after SummerSlam 99. And the main event of this show was Triple H and The Rock for the WWE title with Shawn Michaels as the guest referee.
Oh, yeah.
And HBK in this gaudy referee attire, quote unquote. The unbelievable banana hammock shorts. And again, this tied up sleeveless shirt that had his Wrestling Academy on it. It was the Shawn Michaels Wrestling Academy T-shirt, and it was looking like The Rock was going to win the title. He was going to beat Triple H on the debut edition of SmackDown. Rock goes for the People's Elbow, and as he turns,
Sweet chin music.
he runs right into a Shawn Michaels super kick, in which we believe, possibly, Shawn Michaels just turned heel. Because he just helped his friend, who we've known as his friend, Triple H, retain the title, and he kicked The Rock to do it. Nothing ever happened, and I would love to know why nothing ever happened. But that's a moment that I'll never forget from the first ever SmackDown, when it became a show and got picked up by UPN.
Because, I mean, The Rock used the term SmackDown, so you view it as, like, The Rock show.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that The Rock would win on his own show.
Yeah, or at least main event the first official episode.
And here comes the monkey wrench in the system.
Oh, Shawn Michaels has always been a monkey wrench whenever it comes to WWE plans. We talked about the good. Now let's talk about the bad, which we hate to get to. The bad. We don't like bad things. But here recently, not really going to shock you in any way, SmackDown's fallen off.
It's the ugly stepchild of the group.
SmackDown has fallen off when it comes to WWE storylines. When there was the brand extension, super huge for SmackDown. SmackDown got to be its own, while Raw was like the very traditional WWE that we have seen for a long time. SmackDown was supposed to be like some new blood. You know, we're gonna see. That's why all the new guys were on SmackDown. That's why a Cena and an Orton and a Batista and a Lesnar were all on SmackDown, because that's where the new blood was going to be. I say the beginning of SmackDown's downfall happened when they moved to Friday nights in 2005. We've talked about this. No one's going to watch. TV isn't watched on Friday nights because you're out. You're out somewhere. You've got plans that don't consist, unless you're me, sitting in front of a TV watching pro wrestling. Because it's Friday night, you probably have a ticket to go see live pro wrestling. So I think that's where the downfall started with SmackDown.
I don't necessarily believe that it was the move to Friday nights that killed them, because it doesn't matter what day of the week a show comes on. If you like a show, you're gonna watch a show.
Right.
I mean, I can understand that. If Raw moved to Saturdays, we would all watch Raw on Saturdays.
Right.
Because it's Raw.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's necessarily the move. The only time we would stop watching Raw is if the quality of Raw goes down.
Right.
It wasn't the move of the days, it was the change in quality, and I think the change in quality happened when they stopped the brand extensions. I think that's the downfall of SmackDown.
Yeah.
Because when they stopped the brand extensions, it essentially became pointless to have more than one show anyway.
Right.
It's the same people on every show.
Right.
And so why does it even matter? And the fact that, and this kind of speaks to the quality of the show too, the fact that they stopped doing, they used to every now and again do a live special for SmackDown. Mm-hmm. They stopped doing those. SmackDown's never live. And it's like, if it's not even a live show, they taped it on Tuesday. They're trying to act like it's on Friday. Don't lie to me.
Right.
This ain't on Friday. This ain't
right.
This ain't Friday Night SmackDown. This is Tuesday Night SmackDown.
Right.
Y'all are just showing me on Friday.
Right after main event.
Right. Yeah.
So
you do the main event tapings, and then you do SmackDown.
So it's like, I think that's when it stopped. Because when the brand extensions were going on, SmackDown was hot, and like you said, there was new people, and every now and again they would trade a guy like a Triple H. Got traded to SmackDown for a while.
Yeah, for like a whole week.
Edge was on SmackDown. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of guys that kind of mattered that were on SmackDown for a while.
Edge and Eddie, they helped SmackDown a lot in the early days of SmackDown.
Cena's meteoric rise really started on SmackDown because even
he won the WWE title while on SmackDown. Yeah.
So I mean,
a year later or a couple months later, he took the WWE title to Raw, where it stayed ever since.
But so for a while, SmackDown was hot. SmackDown mattered. But when they put the shows back together and the show SmackDown became just kind of like a B-roll kind of, either matches that don't matter or just promos from your main guys. Because every now and again you'll get a John Cena promo, you'll get a Seth Rollins promo, you'll get a Dean Ambrose promo, but like nothing exciting happens. No titles are gonna change hands. No titles are really even gonna be on the line. I don't remember the last title match that was on SmackDown.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like when you take away all of the things that make wrestling exciting on a particular show, that show's going to become less important to you, regardless of what day it's on.
Yeah.
If they take actual superstars that really matter and put them on SmackDown in real situations that have impact on, you know, a title picture or on a main event for a pay-per-view, because nothing that happens on SmackDown has implications for anything.
Right.
All the implications are on Raw. And everything that changes the landscape of the WWE happens on Raw. If you took some of those moments and put them on SmackDown, SmackDown then again becomes relevant.
Right.
So when they stopped the brand extensions and everything just became, you know, back to having two shows, SmackDown became less relevant.
Right.
Moments didn't matter.
I understand that as well. I do not believe that it's the tape delay that hurts SmackDown, because it's been like that for 15 years. SmackDown has been taped on Tuesday and then aired on Thursday or now on Friday, and it's even aired at different times between Tuesday and Friday in international markets.
Yeah.
That's why you get, if you're on the right internet site,
You can get your results.
you are going to actually watch SmackDown, and it will be on like Wednesday. Because in some other country, halfway on the other side of the world, SmackDown is being watched on Wednesday. You know?
Yeah.
I don't think that it's the tape delay that was ever the problem. To say it doesn't matter what day of that the show is being aired. If you love it, you're going to watch it.
Yeah.
The same goes for the whole tape delay thing. I think it would help if they did make SmackDown go live. Put SmackDown on Tuesday, make them go live. Maybe it would help. Maybe it wouldn't. But to go with SmackDown basically continuing angles that started on Raw, I'm okay with that, because that's how SmackDown started, was basically the continuation show for Raw, and maybe even starting some new stuff. And I'm okay if they're gonna do that for SmackDown now that the brand extension's over, now that the heavyweight, the tag team, and the women's title have all been unified, and it's only one belt. But don't half-ass it.
Yep.
If you're going to do it and continue these stories that started on Raw, continue all of them on SmackDown, just in the same vein. Like last week when Ambrose stole Rollins' briefcase, his Money in the Bank briefcase. Again, that was a continuation, but that was also at the beginning of the show. And what closed the show? Big Show and Rusev, which has been a continuation of the program that had gone on all week in WWE. And something that happens on SmackDown that I guarantee you will not see on Raw. This same episode where Ambrose would go on to steal Rollins' briefcase, SmackDown's opening video aired, and then right as it ended, Dean Ambrose was halfway down the entrance ramp. The Miz was already in the ring, and their match was about to begin. The show started with Ambrose halfway down the ramp and the Miz already in the ring. I guarantee you will not see that happen on Raw.
No. No.
And they've never done that. I don't understand why they did do that. So when I saw that, because I attempted to watch SmackDown again. I haven't done it in a while. And I can admit that. I haven't watched SmackDown in a long time.
I haven't watched a full episode of SmackDown in years.
I attempted to watch that episode of SmackDown, but when the intro ended and I saw Dean Ambrose halfway down the ramp to start his match, I was like, are you kidding me? And then I attempted to watch the match and got past the first segment, and I couldn't. It's like, this is ridiculous. How can you even do this? It doesn't make sense. I don't know what they could do to fix SmackDown, but I sure would love to see it happen.
Yeah.
Because there used to be a time where SmackDown was Yes, it was number 2, but it was a solid number 2.
Yeah.
Um,
Both of you, all your points kind of played into mine. Like, when it was 2 separate shows and they, like, no one from SmackDown went on to Raw, no one from Raw went on to SmackDown, unless it was to prove a point.
mm-hmm.
I think that was the height of SmackDown. Like, the thing I look forward to the most between the rivalry between the 2 shows was the draft lottery.
Mm-hmm.
One, your favorite superstar, it was unpredictable. They could have went anywhere. So then, if your favorite superstar from Raw went to SmackDown, you would follow them to SmackDown.
Yeah.
Therefore, that increases viewership, opening you to a whole new set of wrestling.
There was once upon a time at the height of the brand extension where WWE fans were split between whether they liked Raw or whether they liked SmackDown better.
And I think if they brought back the rivalry between the 2 shows, I think it would really benefit the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they have the roster to do it.
Yeah, they don't have the roster anymore.
And plus the storylines and feuds and everything else, it wouldn't make sense right now.
It would basically have to be a reboot almost.
Yes, which brings me to my next point. What pisses me off about SmackDown now is that they do it a couple times in a show, or they'll just do a whole show of it, crossing feuds, and it pisses me off. You'll have 2 storylines that are completely unrelated, and then you'll throw the protagonist of 2 different storylines as a team against the antagonist of 2 different stories in a tag team match, to where you don't know. Like, it leaves me confused every time. Like, that's a reason why I don't watch SmackDown. I will be watching Raw, and then it'll be like, this week on SmackDown, we are going to have the Usos versus The Miz and Kane. Like,
right.
That makes absolutely no sense to me. Like, I would rather go to work that night than sit there and watch that match, just because it would not make sense to me.
Yeah. There's a lot of things, clearly SmackDown isn't what Raw is. I'm not saying it has to be, I'm not saying Raw or SmackDown has to be a carbon copy of Raw. There can be the little differences. But again, if you're going to continue storylines on the next show, do them all or just don't do it at all.
I think they need to bring back a solid GM for the show.
Mm-hmm.
To just add some diversity, add some new storylines that you're not going to have to watch separate shows throughout the week, just in case you miss something on Friday, and then you're watching next Monday, and then there's something that happens.
Yeah, which I'm even surprised they do. I am surprised that they did the thing with Ambrose where he took Rollins' briefcase on SmackDown. I'm surprised they did the thing with Cena and Ambrose where Cena walked out basically on Ambrose. I'm surprised they did that on SmackDown. I'm surprised they try to even do any kind of storyline depth on SmackDown, because no one's even going to see it, basically. It's no one's even going to see it. We have just crossed the 2-hour mark, and I think this is a good time to start. We have doubled, or almost doubled, at least last week's episode, because we got new equipment for this week. I changed it up. We got new equipment.
Swag.
Still did not even get to the main topic that we were going to talk about, but that's okay, because I think we got 2 solid hours of everything we talked about, from Ambrose to Rock and Rusev. What else did we talk about? Cena and Hogan.
Let's lead off next week.
The NXT guys.
What we didn't get to this week.
What? You know what? I'm going to do that because WWE sure as hell didn't do it. And giving you a lead in to the next show, so I'm going to do that. There's a thing that the 3 of us created a couple of weeks ago. The possibility of Sting's probably first, last, and only match in WWE. And it's not against The Undertaker. It's not against Kane.
Triple H.
It's not against Triple H.
John Cena.
John Cena.
Dang sure not John Cena.
But against Bray Wyatt.
He's got the whole world in his hands.
And it was even increased by this cryptic tweet that Bray Wyatt had sent out. It said something about be heard. It was 4 lines. I can only remember 2 of them. One was be heard. The other one was destroy the Scorpion, which Sting has been notorious for having a scorpion on his tights throughout the 30 years of his career. So that only helped our fantasy booking and our fan fiction, if you will. So we're going to leave you with that. We're going to kick off next week with this Sting Wyatt idea.
Because we've tried to do it for 2 weeks, and it failed.
And we could do it now, because like I said, we have different equipment, but we've been sitting here for 2 hours.
I'm tired and I want to go home.
Hey, there you go. See?
I want to go get McDonald's because I'm hungry.
And I've been keeping these 2 here for way too long. So we're just going to end with that. Next week, the very first thing we talk about, I guarantee you, will be this project of Sting versus Bray Wyatt.
He's got the whole...
Okay, we get it.
This has been the second edition of the Shoot Nation Wrestling Podcast. I'm Charlie, that's Jake, and that's Michael.
Good night,
and
folks.
I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you've been watching. Hope you're going to keep watching.
Tell your friends.
Yes. Interact with us on all forms of social media at Shoot Nation. We have a Facebook page. I created a Twitter account, but I probably won't ever get on it unless you two want to have control of that.
Oh,
All right.
got you, boo-boo.
All right. There you go. Because I have fallen off on Twitter since I deleted mine a year ago. So
I'll even make us an Instagram.
go for it. Interact with us on all forms of social media at Shoot Nation. Like the Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter, even though there's nothing on it.
I always want to say this on a YouTube video. Like, share, comment below.
Yeah, there you go. See, he stole what I was going to do. Anyway, thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Like, share, comment below. WWE Network, $9.99. Good night.
He's got the whole...
All right. Stop. Good night.
Oh.